start this back up. So the group just came out of the hut of the healer. Where are they headed next?
I wanted to speak to the cheesemakers.
Okay. Just across the street. Very convenient.
Oh, before we go in, Isuwa-san, do you think the gift that Ikumaru carries, perhaps the glow is caused by a fire kami?
That is a very wise speculation. If it is possible, I could speak to the spirit within the lantern, and it perhaps could answer questions for us.
Additionally, the sandals that have gone missing from the peasant women who were murdered, if we could find the sandals, perhaps that would offer some illumination into this matter.
That it would.
And then I'll go inside.
Yeah, we go inside. I'll also make a mental note to speak to Ikamaru when the time comes.
Okie doke. So you enter into you all just, Asako especially, cringe your noses as you enter into a merchant's abode. As you head inside and it just smells like money and it's the worst place ever. But yeah, inside there's, I don't know what Japanese, I'm not even sure if they know what cheese is, but churns and the like are in operation, as a few peasants, both men and women, are currently churning milk into butter and fermenting cheese and doing this sort of thing. They have on a counter there's various cheeses wrapped up in rice paper and tied up with string and stuff like that. And at the front counter there's a lady in an apron and a fabulous silk sash, currently wiping her brow as she's wrapping up the cheese, basically. But everybody sees you enter and they all stop what they're doing and bow deeply to you.
I'll give a respectful nod back and then say, "Greetings. I'm looking for the proprietor of this shop."
That's me, says the woman in the apron. How may I...
I'll nod to her and say, "Enemy Sawa Shujinko, this is Iso Sai and Asako Hiroshi. We are here investigating a string of murders that have occurred within this village. I wish to ask you about the 4 peasant girls who have been murdered over the course of the winter."
And she says, everybody's staring at you, obviously, and she's like, may we discuss the matter in my back room, Samurai-san?
We may. And then I'll follow her, of course.
Sweet, sweet.
Same.
You guys head in the back. Shiba-ran and his retinue will go ahead and stay outside. Because there's just not that much room.
No.
Uh-huh.
So she wipes her nose on her sleeve and pats down her...
Gross. Peasants are gross.
Peasants are gross. She pats down her apron. She's like, "All right, Sama, any questions you have? I'm here. That monster killed my girls, so..."
Do you know how they died?
Yep, their throats were slit and they were, dragged into their houses and made to look like they were sleeping.
So what you're
They
saying
were-
is after they were laid with care.
Yeah. That's correct.
This was the case with all four of them.
She's like, I don't know about all
To your
four of them.
knowledge.
I don't know about all four, but I know that's
And
what
they're-
happened to Kiko.
Oh. And their Kiko's family was in the house at the time?
Her dad was, but, you know, he's a drunk, so he wouldn't be aware if the lady's bull walked right into his household or not.
I have what you will consider question.
Very well.
Are there any old stories told in this village used to scare young children into behaving?
That's a good question. It's definitely something about putting milk out in front of the huts, or else, you know, somebody will steal your daughter or something like that.
You ended up cutting out in the middle of
Oh, I gave the improv answer, which is, you know, they say if you don't put milk out in front of your doorstep at night, then the Nizumi will take your children off.
The key there being that it was improv, so...
Yes.
yeah.
Gotcha. Shujinko will look to her and say, "You say that a monster has slain them. What do you believe has happened?"
And she points across the way at the healer's hut. She's like, the town healer's the one that did it. I saw him do it myself.
Shujinko will raise a very surprised brow at that and then say, "You claim that he did it himself. Tell me, how is it that you came to see this?"
Well, I was entertaining company the other night, and we're sitting over yonder, and she points towards a table that is right by a window, and my friend pointed outside the window, and we looked across, and there was the fat old man dragging Kiko into an alleyway. She tears up.
And this is the... so which hut is the old man's hut?
It's not designated. We'll say this is his hut, or this is the
Cheese
butter and
shop.
creamery, and this is the old man's hut.
Right next to the field there.
Have
Yes.
you ever seen anything strange happening in the field at night? And I'll point out to the field where the cattle was mutilated or murdered, killed.
Are you asking if I've seen anybody kill the cows?
Well, have you seen anyone kill the cows?
Haven't seen anybody kill the cows, and I haven't seen any lights out in the field.
Very well.
Tell me, the healer. The two Shiba that we came in with. Shiba Renjiro and Shiba Katai. Do you know if they and the healer have any form of pre-existing relationship, camaraderie of any sort?
Well, I know the healer's a big deal because he saved Akimaru's life, and she says Akimaru and she freezes as she like looks at you guys, and she goes, she saved Isawa, Lord Isawa's life when he was a baby. And so everybody in town knows him because he's much beloved by the lady. So I don't know if they have a personal relationship, but all the samurai in town know everybody else, basically.
I see. Huh. So out of character, I heard there was a little bit of cutting out. It was her saying that the son, essentially, had lots of trysts with the peasant women, correct?
She didn't say that. But make an investigation roll for me. That colorful sash she's wearing looks very familiar.
What color is her sash?
Blue. Nothing too obvious.
I would like to do just like a general investigation roll of this area to see if I find anything suspicious. Oh, the shop.
Of the cheese shop? Okay.
Casually, also.
Holy cow.
Nice.
If only you call raises. Now, you know, that kind of catches your ear, and you're kind of looking around the storage room back here. She's got some nicer things than a peasant woman has, or a merchant has any right to. I guess she is a merchant, so she can have nicer things than a peasant, but, you know.
Even for a merchant, you mean? She kind of...
Yeah, she's got some Netsuki with, like, jewels in them, and, you know, just, like, some fine brushes and stuff like that.
I'll maybe point out something I noticed, like these brushes. They are quite finely crafted. Even the cheese shops I frequent in Kyuden, in Isawa Kyuden, or no, Kyuden Isawa, don't have brushes like these.
Well, Lord Isawa frequents here often, and he doesn't handle money, so he usually pays for his shipments and gifts? Question mark.
What was that last thing?
I just said the word question mark.
Oh. Could I make... I don't know what it would be to try to see, to try to like read between the lines of what she's saying. Like,
that could either be etiquette or courtier.
Okay. I'll do an etiquette roll. Do I want to take a raise on it? No, I don't.
Wisely, too. Yeah, okay, you're pretty sure Akamaru's is holding a flame for this young cheese girl. He's been, bestowing gifts upon her.
Did Ikamaru ever offer gifts to Kiku? Was that the woman's name? The woman that we were talking about earlier.
He's never really, bothered with any of the my workers.
I nod. Well, shall we perhaps take a look at the homes? There is also the cow in the basement.
Yes, I believe that would be wise.
Yes.
But first, after they leave the cheese shop, Shujinko is going to go around to the side of the place. It's safe to say that, how large would the cheese shop be, would you say? Like, about like a 50 by 50 area, or?
I have terrible spatial awareness, so I couldn't give you a good estimate. It's about the
I guess
largest building that the peasants own, basically.
I'm going to go ahead and correlating on the outside to where the inside of her personal office is. I'm going to stand basically right outside it, and then I'm going to start reciting some words.
Okay. You're gonna light it on fire.
Boom.
I'm going to see if the air can tell me any secret stuff that may be hidden within her abode. And basically just walk around the perimeter of the cheese shop, trying to see if there's anything that sticks out as, that's odd. Why the heck is this here?
Of course, this also doubles as her house, and so as you're walking around, you see some, in her bedroom there are notes that she has hidden under her sleeping mat. No weapons or anything that a peasant would get in trouble for hiding.
Notes. This
Seems
merchant can read.
I mean, if a peasant can read, it's probably.
Shujinko will go and relay that information and say, do you believe that this is enough of a lead to go and obtain those notes?
Wow. I mean, out of character, I'm just not sure. I feel like I don't have enough knowledge on the world to make a decision one way or the other.
Technically speaking, we can pretty much barge and do any.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm going to go ahead and go back in
Technically
and say,
speaking. The Phoeni-X, I'd say, are a lot less likely than, say, my Soshi magistrate in a different campaign who would just do whatever the hell he wants and not care what the peasant thinks.
I'll go ahead and re-enter the cheese shop and then say, pardon me, I wish to have a word with you. One final word. May we return to, maybe go to this room here, the one that I detected the notes in.
my private
By
room.
the way, Chris, I did select a picture finally.
Yes. It's very inappropriate, Samurai-san.
While that may well be the case, there is no matter of inappropriateness that I wish to see into this inside of there. The spirits have revealed to me something that is of quite a bit of interest. Tell me, can you read?
I can read. Someone's got to keep the books. She'll slide her room door open for you.
You cut out a fair bit again.
Yeah, you were cutting out. I couldn't really hear.
Oh, slay me! I can read. Someone has to cook the books on this place. She'll slide the door open for you, then she'll look over at one of your compatriots and say, will another of you join us, please?
Shujinko will raise a brow and then say, did you just admit to a magistrate that you happen to lie about your revenue? You realize that is quite a serious offense.
She did not use the term cook the book in a legal
Okay, gotcha. He'll point to the mattress and say, "There are letters underneath there. I wish to read them."
And when she asks for another to enter, I'll step forward.
So she's not happy about it, but she has no choice. So she hands over her notes to you.
I'll turn to her and I say, we apologize for the intrusion, but it is a matter of our duty to follow any leads which could be promising.
I understand, Samurai-san. So the notes are, correspondence between Akamaru and herself, and they're very juicy love letters. On Akamaru's part, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I love you. You're beautiful. You're the most down to earth girl. You're fantastic." And on her part, she's like, "Thank you very much. You're very sweet." And Akamaru's like, once I'm out on my own, I'll marry you and everything's like that. And she's obviously like, "That's nice." Not getting her hopes up for a samurai.
I apologize.
Anything of interest, Isua-san?
Oh,
Yes,
it's juicy.
quite a bit of interest.
There's some James Joyce level.
Tell me, you knew that we were asking questions about Akamaru, and yet you did not think to bring this to our attention. Why?
Because unless under serious, because I care about him, I wouldn't want his reputation destroyed by being with me.
This does call many questions. He'll narrow his eyes and then say, "I'm afraid I'm going to have to place you under arrest until such a time as that I can question you further. You will come with me." He'll look over at Isao-sai and then say, "I have a theory. We need to question her further, but we should continue pursuing other leads as well."
So this is when we're outside, right?
That's correct. He doesn't want to arrest her
Right.
yet. He has a specific theory about...
Say more.
Did you see the color of her sash that she wore? It was blue. So it was made of the finest silk. It fits under the blue shining things that one would see in the night. And the boy of the magistrate here, Isawa Ikamaru, he appears to have a weakness for peasant women. And the sordid letters that we just found between him and the proprietor here, it seems to add up to something quite simple.
I see. You may be onto something, but
We should
Would the
investigate
sa-
more, of course.
would the-
There may be another solution. But my current leading theory is that I believe that she murdered those girls in a fit of jealousy in order to keep the son to himself. Or herself.
would the sash alone be enough to illuminate the field at night so that it would be visible to
I do not know.
the
That is,
village below or the manor itself?
I do not know. I have not seen the sash at dark. It is possible that there are many things that we need to check before we can say one way or another. It is simply the leading theory that I have come to. I look
Very
over
well.
to Sai as well. Speaking of which, you've been concentrating on the void still, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Did she appear as a whole or as a person?
She's a person.
I believe I did drop that spell then, because it is a deep concentration. It's not a
Oh.
shallow concentration. It's basically this is everything I'm doing beyond simply moving around.
And when you did have the medicine at the doctor's too.
Yeah. Basically, as long as I can focus on just that one thing, I can keep concentrating. But if I have to do anything else beyond maybe moving around, I have to drop the spell, basically.
Indeed. Shujinka will look to both Sai and to oh man, why can I never remember your name? Hiroshi, and then say, I believe we should investigate the homes of the girls who were murdered next, and then afterwards we must speak to this Kara.
I most certainly agree with that sentiment. Most importantly, that of the most recent loss.
It would be best to start there. I certainly agree. And then we'll head to that direction.
Okie doke.
Yep.
Your Yorkie, Miss Sheba, will flag you guys down and asking around, and I found that this was this house right over here, and she gestures for you with the site of the last murder.
Good work, Shiva-san. Shiva-san, do you see that home over there where that smells quite badly?
That's all of them, but
There is a woman there who wears a blue sash. A woman there that wears a blue sash. If she leaves there, follow her and report her movements to us.
Yes, sir.
I'm also, as we're looking at these homes, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for any sandals, and I assume we would have been notified if there were like sandals inside the cheese shop that we saw, even when we were in the private quarters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with that, I'll go and then knock on the door of the home.
I'll take a look outside and do an investigation.
Okay. Oh, that's a very good investigation. The house is abandoned because they're currently doing a funeral at the moment. But for the investigation, all day event, for the investigation, luckily it hasn't rained for the last couple days, so you actually see in the like back door of this little hut, there's some like drag marks coming from a nearby alley that lead into the back door. They look a few days old.
You said there are footprints there?
Footprints and then drag marks as well.
So like two legs being dragged kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can I use a hunting check to try and follow where they would lead?
Yeah.
Can I use a hunting roll to try and follow where they would lead?
Yes, you can. I would love to see that.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you if you're saying anything.
Oh, he said yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Whoa, sweet.
I know how to hunt.
Can you hear me now
Certainly
before
so.
I
Yes.
give you info?
What was that?
gonna jump in and out as well because I was having problems hearing you.
Let's all. All right, sound off.
Is that any better?
I can hear you.
Yep, I can hear people.
Yep, I can hear Asako and Cornered Baby so far.
Sweet,
How's
can
it
you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Excellent.
Okay, there we go.
For your hunting roll, as you follow these drag marks, they take you towards an alley to where they just become two footsteps, basically, and it's pretty much where the peasant girl pointed towards when she was saying that that's where she saw her get attacked. From the tracks, you can kind of make out she was at least walking away from the cheese place when she got like knocked down and then dragged into her house, basically.
Is there any like signs of struggle or violence or like blood or anything?
Other than her falling to the ground, no. Looks like she was walking and then collapsed and then was just like dragged away.
Mm-hmm. And we...
No blood either.
Is there another set of footprints going to the cheese shop?
No.
Oh.
This is sort of in the alley, like, is when her footprints first appear, so after that it's like on the main street where dozens of people walk every day, so it gets stamped out after that.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that this correlates with the cheese merchant's story. I'll look around. Yeah, this does appear to be the alleyway that she spoke of.
What did the commie in the field say?
The commie in the field said that something ancient was what murdered the beasts, and they said that it came from towards the town.
I love you.
Ancient? That
Yes.
seems almost,
Love you.
I would say maybe misleading.
It does not imply that necessarily that it was not a human perpetrating it. It could simply be that the implement they used to perform the killing was a very old blade. The Earth Kami are notoriously poor at being clear.
That they are. It is unfortunate that they were not near water.
Even
about
with
the cake?
a raise for clarity.
It is unfortunate they were not near water. That would provide a picture of the victim. He'll pause for a second and then say, "We should search the inside of the home for any sign of struggle or any additional leads. Perhaps they had a fire within the hearth, and it is possible that the spirits there have remained since then."
Cool.
Very well. And I'll knock on the door and then open it.
Sweet. Yep. Nobody inside.
Yep, it's abandoned because they're having the funeral.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and investigate the area.
That's bad juju. All right. It's a very small house. There's like the kitchen / den and the parents' room and the daughter's room, and so the
Goodness gracious.
Gotta make raises, man. So there's like a trail of dirt. I guess they just they would have cleaned up the dirt by now. But it goes into the signs of being dragged goes into the daughter's room, and they're like on the sleeping mats. That's where all the blood is. So it looks like she wasn't killed until she was laying down on her bed.
She wasn't killed until she was laying down?
Yep.
Is that what you said?
That's correct.
So the victim was knocked out and then dragged here and then killed.
Likely so.
It appears that that is the case, yes. It makes no sense, though. Why would you drag a victim back into their home with their throat slit?
There are sandals in the room. Looks like there was one pair and then there's another pair missing.
I can provide no...
Cast by the light of the moon.
Yeah.
I can provide no clarity to your question, Isola-san.
Other than her dad hiding alcohol like in a ditch underneath the house, there doesn't seem to be anything being disguised in this household.
Just figured I'd ask, considering the care taken to place the body. Could have been.
Yeah, no doubt.
Perhaps this is part of the murderer's ritual to drag the victims to their own bedrooms before killing them.
Indeed, it could be. It also tells us one important thing. They were still alive when they came here. Which leads to the question, did they come willingly, or were they done by force? Shujinko will look around the room. Does the home itself happen to have a fireplace, and does it look like it's been used recently?
Well, the drag marks would suggest that they did not come willingly.
It's true. They do have a fireplace. It does look like it's been used recently. The chill of the early spring morning.
We should speak to one of our Iroki. I need them to gather some twigs and some wood from the surrounding area, as dry as they can make it.
We cut to a
We'll investigate.
Wouldn't
Investigate.
I may have seen some tinder nearby.
we cut to a fireplace full of twigs.
But yeah, basically just a fireplace full of twigs, and then Isawa's gonna start trying to commune with the fire spirit within the fireplace.
Sweet.
He's giving it twigs because he wants to be a kiss ass and try and get it to like him a little more.
Good sminking.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my free raise that I get for fire spells for clarity, and then I'm gonna do 2 raises, 1 for additional clarity, 1 for an additional question.
Okay.
So 20 to get there.
Cool, cool. A fire commie roars to life. It looks very annoyed for a second, and it's like, oh, very nice. Hello, how can I help you? Hello, yes.
Hello, great spirit of flame. I felt it was appropriate to give you an offering if I was to rouse you from your slumber. I have questions regarding a murder that took here recently. Some nights ago, 2 people entered this home, one dragging the other. Tell me, what did the person dragging the other look like?
He goes, oh yes, well, your offering has pleased me greatly. Let's see. The man dragging a woman the other day. Or 2 people dragging each other the other day. Let me contemplate. Passionate man. Very, wait, what was one of them for clarity? I believe so. Very passionate man. He was sweating. He was heaving. He was very happy about himself. I'd say over 200 pounds. Yeah.
And it was okay.
Okay, so over 200 pounds. Out of character, that fits with the description of the healing guy.
Yeah.
In character, he will say, Great spirit of flame. Tell me, did this passionate man hold a katana? Did he happen to have the weapon of a samurai?
He bore no such blade. His was one I find most common upon those committed to scholarly pursuits.
And the man who dragged the woman here, was he the one that killed her?
Haha, yes. The height of his excitement when he took her life from her.
Thank you, great spirit of flame. You may rest now. And then he'll get up and then just relay the information that he just got and then said, it is clear that, based on what the spirit has told me, that the murderer was no other than the healer of the village.
Out of characters, the healer is the only one we have come into contact with that fit the description.
He, from what I understand of the fire, yeah, he was the only fat guy, and he had a
Right.
wakizashi, but not a katana. So it couldn't
Right.
have been the daughter of the person here because he's a bushi.
Right. And also out of character, can magistrates make decisions solely on what they learn from Kami?
No.
No, that is
Okay.
forbidden.
Yeah, the testimony of the spirits is not considered sufficient evidence.
But
However,
they
testimony
show.
itself, that's different. So if we could go and force a confession out of him, that is different.
Okay. Should we take a look at some of the other houses where there have been victims and the cow before we make an accusation? It may be wise to gain as much information as we can.
I would certainly agree.
So we'll go take a quick look around at the other houses and On our way there, I'll also say a doctor would perhaps have knowledge of anatomy that might lend itself to these crimes.
I must express the possibility that this series of murders may not necessarily be directly connected to what happened to the livestock. They may actually be two separate sets.
You are correct. And yes, they could be two separate occurrences. One does not necessarily go correlate with the others. However, the timeline of when the last of the livestock fell and when the murder of the the murder of the peasant women began, it seems too coincidental.
That is likely the case. Nonetheless, I do wish to see the cow more present further sight. Which are far more removed in time than from the present, and thus less likely to yield valuable information.
So out of character, you cut out a little bit. So you want to see the cows first or the other homes?
I favor the cows just because of the fact that the other houses, the murders weren't so recent, so it's less preserved evidence. Like,
Okay.
obviously, the people have still been living there. They would have cleaned it up already and gone about their daily lives since then, so likely there's not going to be very much to be gleaned from the other house. But the cow has been preserved at least.
Sure. That seems reasonable to me.
Cool. Then,
As it does me.
And we'll make our way up the hill.
oh, boop, boop, boop.
There you go.
There we go. Hey, all right. So we head back up to the manor. You express interest in seeing the cow, and so they take you down to the basement. Miss Isawa and her Kuni apprentice join you for a second. She has her sleeve over her face because dead cows are gross. But inside, in the basement, in like kind of its own little room, is a dead cow. And as you guys look at it, it looks very, very hazy. And so Miss Isawa, is talking to her. The Kuni's very shy. It's a very shy Kuni. And Isawa's like, all right now, go ahead and end the spell on it. And so Kuni's like, all right. And so she murmurs some words, and with a big puff, the spell that's been surrounding the cow sort of lets loose, and they've basically just been like vacuum sealing the thing for a while. And so with the spell let loose, you guys are suddenly hit with the smell of a dead and decaying cow, and you guys are like, woof. And the two Shugenja both like throw their sleeves over their mouths and nose and bow their way out of the room.
I try my best not to seem impressed by that spell.
Very stoic.
Out of character.
For Masako as well.
Out of character. So I know samurai don't touch corpses. Would the corpse of an animal fall under that rule?
It's no different. You might have an Edda here to, touch it for you, or you guys just might be making surface level observations of it.
Right. Yeah, so I'll go closer and take a look at it.
Cool.
I'll do the same thing.
It's weird that they kept the body at all. It was probably more of a in the interest of training the young Shugenja than the actual investigation. So proceed. Oh, that was myself I heard talking. Okay. I was like, that voice sounded just like mine. So would you guys like to make medicine rolls or investigation rolls on this this here corpse?
Is the tea indifferent for them?
No, it's about the same. And by about the same, I mean exactly the same.
Trained with no right?
Why did I thought I did have ranks in investigation or in medicine.
Well,
I don't.
You should have one.
No, I don't have one. So then I'll do investigation. Thanks for picking that up.
Okay. So this cow, first he strikes, it has a very medicinal smell about it. Definitely it doesn't smell like, it does smell like decay, but stronger than the scent of decay is the scent of some sort of chemical on it. You can't tell. It was bled to death. It's been cut in like a few areas of its body, and then just like it bled. From the looks of it, and like the way the blood like marred the fur, it didn't like struggle when it was getting these like very precise, almost surgical cuts on it. It looked like it just like sat there, had these things, you know, cut into its body, and then just like stayed there as it bled to death. It's currently missing its eyes, its ears, its tongue, and its rectum.
That's disturbing.
The missing parts. This was like that when you found it?
Yes. Now, just a little bit of magistrate school will tell you that those are all soft tissue, and they all are part of the digestive system. Some of them are part of the digestive system. So when the body decays, those things are usually like the first to go. So that could be the explanation for it, but this thing has been like vacuum sealed for a few months, so it might have been slowly decaying in the seal, or it might have like decayed before they found it.
Oh, so they haven't been cut off. They've just been
It's unclear, actually.
they've like rotted off or something.
All you can tell is that they're missing.
Oh.
If you made some raises, who knows?
It is odd. They're cut in such surgical locations. This certainly seems like something somebody who is well versed in anatomy would know. I believe this only leads further credence to our theory.
Yes, I agree. Well, what now?
I think I'm gonna cast Commune with Void. Sure. Going to Void Point it. I'm going to use my free raise and make 2 raises. Beyond that, to get an extra quest. So it'll be at a TN of 25.
He's so confident.
Let's roll. Said.
Nice.
So what's it look like when you delve into the universe?
Maybe I don't know what Void would look like, but I'm basically reading the fabric of the universe.
You take a tab of LSD and lay on your back. All right, as your
Question 1 I have is, what connects the blood on this animal's fur to the blood on the bedroll?
what an interesting question. Let's see. So you get a flashing image of a rack full of scrolls, and then it transfers over to a scroll being thrown open, and then it's a picture of a bunch of people studying the scroll very, very carefully, and then finally there's a picture of like someone stepping on a cockroach and looking at their like foot in disgust.
Okay, question number 2. What connects the site cow and the site that the murder happened? I have to point out, this spell is basically Asako Hiroshi's conspiracy board.
When you commune with the void, you like your spirit goes into just like a room full of photographs and red tape.
Red yarn.
Red yarn.
Red yarn everywhere.
So what was the question? The void didn't understand it.
What connects the site where the cow died and the site that the girl died?
Your mind soars through the mountains and lands in you find a temple up in the mountains, and there's a monk in an orange robe, and he's walking away from you, but your spirit catches up with him. He turns around and he shrugs and says, "Wrong place at the wrong time."
You cut out there towards the end.
Damn it. You see a monk say, "Wrong place at the wrong time."
Question number 3. What connects the girl and the person whose livestock killed?
What connects the girl and Ken, you're just tossing me some curveballs. Images of
I mean, I am a void Shigenja.
Pictures of very womanly attire flash through your mind. You see black hair. There's an aerial shot of this town in general. You don't know what an aerial shot looks like, but it matches the town that you've seen so far. A phoenix rising from the ashes.
And with that, my eyes flick open.
I'll look at you expectantly.
Most curious.
Go on.
Enough of your navel gazing.
I have looked through the void itself, and it would seem almost as if the cause of these deaths was not with a blade.
Well, that would line up with what the fire commie said.
It is possible that this was done through magic of some variety.
But their throats were slit, were they not?
I do have a horrifying conclusion.
Go on.
What if the spells are not what ended the life, but that for which the life was ended?
Then that would mean that we are dealing with blood speakers, and this became a far more dangerous task. If we believe that it is the work of a blood speaker, and we believe that it is the healer, that is very troubling. We should gather our Guroki.
I can say with certainty that these killings were not targeted. It was entirely due to the misfortune of where they happened to be.
And with that very ominous send-off, your Yorkie are assembled, and the group is reunited.
Well, it would seem we have enough information. My only question would be, should we try to speak to the fire commie in the Blue Lantern? I would also like to speak to the individual who saw the blue light moving in the field. I believe he was a Shiba.
Let me check real quick. Believe it is Shiba Roshiro. Shiba Renjiro. So he can be one of the samurais assembled, so he'll He'll bow to you. Hello, hello. Happy to help.
You spoke earlier of witnessing a blue light moving in the field.
Oh, yes, I did. 2 nights. And each morning, the livestock was slain after I saw them.
And do you know of anyone else in the village that has a kind of blue light?
No, sir, I do not.
Did anyone else witness it? Or was it simply you?
I'm afraid I'm the only one. I've
Where
asked
did you
around,
see
but
it
no luck.
move? Where did you see it move to and from?
It looked like it was, let's see, fairly low to the ground, and he like traces his finger towards, because I imagine you guys are like on the, or outside the castle or something. He's
Sure. Yeah.
tracing his finger along the pasture, and he's like, I didn't see it coming or anything. By the time I looked over at the field, it was already there, and it, I didn't see it kill a cow or anything. I just saw, it was in there, it flickered, it would disappear, and then it would come back like 2 minutes later, and then walk about a little bit, it flickered, and then it was gone again.
Out of character, could I make either a spellcraft or a lore everything roll to see if that fits the description of any spell, essentially?
Yes, of course. You may make the roll.
Okay, gotcha.
You would surmise, that doesn't sound like any spell you're familiar with. If it was, it'd probably be a fire spell. It's possible that from where he's standing, there's some outside the pasture, there's tall grass, and so maybe the light was just flickering in between, his field of vision with that grass. And at night he wouldn't be able to see it, so it looked like the light itself was flickering.
Gotcha. I'll go ahead and relay that information to everyone as well.
I didn't hear 100% of that, so actually relaying it might be helpful.
It's basically, if it was going to be any spell, it's more than likely a fire spell. Based on the angle at which the person saw it, the fire could have reflected off of the tall grass that was around that area and possibly made it appear bluer than it was.
Huh. Could the doctor have had an accomplice? That is also another question.
You can also burn different chemicals to produce different colored flames. Sheba says, for the first time since he entered the village.
What was that, Ken?
But does Rokugani science know that?
I'm sure the Agasha know that, but
After all, they do their Hanabi stuff.
yeah.
Thank you.
He nods politely.
I'll say to this.
After we leave the general area, I'll say, do you believe it is still worth it to talk to the sun?
I'm not sure. How what is the proximity of the doctor's home to the cheese shop?
Right across the street.
from it.
Okay. Because we still have the Sheba there watching the cheese shop, right?
The Sheba are all with you
Yes.
right now. Oh, you kept her
okay, they
there?
are
Okay.
all with us.
She can still be guarding it if you want.
Yeah, we didn't tell him
I
to not
think
guard it.
You also told them to join you.
Yeah, I feel like we told them to join us.
Oh wait, you are totally right. We did.
So it is up to you. You are the one who would be speaking with the fire kami. It does seem that the reputation of the man, the one who saved her.
Let's go ahead and talk to him.
Oh, very well.
Gotcha. We'll go up and request an audience with him.
He meets you shortly. Magistrates, I hope
Jacob will bow
everything's
respectfully.
going well.
And then say, Ikamaru-san, I have a simple request for you.
Proceed.
I heard that through a great act of bravery and courage, you managed to save the life of the Master of Fire within these halls, and you were rewarded with a blue light of some kind. I wish to see it, if I may.
He gestures towards his sash where it's currently, tied with.
Could I read his body language?
Could I also do the same thing? Does he seem like he's given this up willingly? Does he seem like he's happy about this?
He's at
And
ease.
is it, yeah, like I just want to see if he's nervous about being questioned and things like that.
No. He's calm.
What would the role?
Nothing. I'm
what
telling
would
you.
the role be?
Okay. And then I'll start talking to it. I'm going to go ahead and just do, let's say 3 raises for clarity. The 1 free raise I have and then 2 normal ones.
Okay. It's a pretty pure flame. You're not used to conversing with a fire kami this refined, I guess.
Well, that was my investigation roll.
Yeah, I rolled a 34.
Oh, I saw Nasawa.
Yeah.
I just assumed. With your investigation roll, he seems very very at ease. He's not very worried about it, and yeah, the kami within the lantern. It's a very refined kami. When it speaks, it sounds like static, but you can like understand it perfectly.
Great Spirit of Fire. The question I have for you is, where were you specifically on this day at this hour? And then the day and the hour corresponds to the time where the cow was killed.
The man who bears me on his sash was sitting across from a girl who brings great passion from him. Him, her. Together, they were sharing a romantic evening when they caught sight of a horror.
I'm sorry, you said at the end there they were sharing a romantic evening out of sight of a horror?
When they caught sight
When they caught
of
sight.
a horror.
What? Sorry, I spoke when he spoke. It was when they caught sight of a horror.
And tell me, what horror did they catch sight of? What was this horror?
They saw an imbalanced and lonely man, you know, making himself feel important in the only way he knows how. He was murdering a young girl, and the two of them saw this, and their passions were quelled for the night as they both looked on in horror.
Shujinko will pause briefly, looking from the fire kami and then back to the man, because, that's my two questions, and then say, I have just received some most unpleasant news. I'm sorry for the horror that you witnessed, but I need to know exactly what you saw at this night, at this hour.
And he, now he looks nervous. What exactly did the kami tell you?
I would prefer to hear what you say happened before I tell you what the spirit told me.
Go ahead. I want some sort of courtier roll or persuasion.
Would it be investigation since I'm interrogating him?
Interrogation?
Or would it
Yeah,
be
totally.
courtier?
Investigation's fine. Yep, that looks good. He sighs and he goes, "Alright, so there's this peasant girl of whom I am fond." And he looks at you guys as if he's waiting for you to challenge him on that. And I was spending the evening at her house. We were sharing a few drinks together when, looking out from her window, I could see my mother's friend and healer come up behind a girl and put something over her mouth to knock her out, and then he dragged her behind a house. And though my Bushido propelled me to defend the girl, I failed to act like a disgrace, and in fear of my own status, I did not say anything.
Well, I must admit, I'm surprised to hear such an act from a man with such a reputation for being so courageous. To not say this is a large breach of duty, but fortunately, there is still an opportunity to do what is right. We have eyewitness testimony from both yourself and the purveyor of a cheese shop who would have seen it. This is all we need in order to bring this to light and set about a formal interrogation of the suspect. Because this was a part of your failure of duty, I request that you come with us in order to redeem yourself. We must go apprehend this man before he hurts another.
And on this one, I'll request a courtier roll. He doesn't like the idea of giving his testimony. However, at this point, you guys were like, this is the testimony we need.
I was not the person that should have done that roll. Wait a minute, that should have been 3K2, not 2K2.
All right, roll one more.
I do not have the courtier skill. I am not the person either.
In fact, I think you get penalties to your courtier rolls.
No, I don't actually.
Oh, what's disturbing continents do?
Which one?
Don't you have disturbing?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I do get. I am disturbing.
Oh yeah, you are a disturbing looking person.
Okay, with 22, he'll be like, calling my honor into question is quite the task. You know, very well. I
That
failed
said, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
to. Very well.
You were cutting out for me, so I didn't actually hear the start of that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I will have to figure out a way to fix this connectivity problem. Cause I hear everybody just fine. Very well. Since I failed to act and save that girl, my honor is the least of the worries on my soul right now. I will testify against him.
Shujinko will smile inwardly to himself for being able to help the samurai recognize what their duty should be to helping the peasants and those around them. And then, yeah, I guess we're going to go off and we're going to go and apprehend this murderous, possibly Maho user.
I have a suggestion that I was going to have Asako put forward. You know the old trope of gather all the people in a room? I was going to suggest doing that, calling an audience, including the Kuni, the Lord, the doctor, the cheese shop owner, him.
I like the sound of that. I want to see that scene.
I love the sound of that as well. That sounds like a good idea.
I'm going to do something dramatic and very stupid.
Can't wait. Okay, so a few hours later, we're in the a meeting room of Miss Hisawa's room. She is there along with her Kuni apprentice. Yes, sir?
Can I have meditated in between now and then?
Yeah, go ahead. She has it's her Kuni apprentice, her son, Shiba Ran, as well as the two samurai witnesses, the healer, the cheese shop owner. Am I missing anybody? The candlestick maker.
No, that sounds about right.
All right, and Ken, if you would take the reins.
That was a weird roll.
To simplify matters, all those that have information pertinent to this investigation are here in this room. Oh, yeah, obviously we'd have the original magistrate as well.
Yes. And Ken, you told me they fixed the exploding tins bug.
Yes, they fixed the exploding tens bug. I'm so happy about that.
But he just rolled an 11, and it didn't.
That should have been a 19.
Oh wait, they fixed that bug, but apparently they didn't permanently fix that bug.
Temp fix.
The day that I first noticed that they fixed the sheet, that bug was gone, and now it's back, and that irritates me so much because they had it fixed.
Alright, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Ken was robbed of a 31 one time because of that bug.
Yeah.
It was something big.
I rolled a 31 on one die, and it was absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I have.
Well, the weird thing, too, is I should have only rolled, let's say, 3 keep 2, but there's 4 dice rolls there.
Okay, this is particularly strange.
So
That is
would the
Huh.
it was almost like the ones. Oh, I wonder if it's because it was a 10, which exploded into a 1, so it was an 11, so it didn't roll that one, and it re-rolled the 3.
Oh, I think I might understand.
But anyway, I think it should be a 19.
That is just really strange.
I
don't
bet the
understand what
emphasis is
happened.
what threw it off. That's gonna be
Right.
my guess. Anyway, please continue, Ken.
There were several pieces of information relevant to this case. I must ask that despite the fact that... Oh, sorry. My brain's not working very well all of a sudden. Well, just to be clear, who is it that the cheese shop, was it the cheese shop owner itself herself who was having the affair?
Yes.
With the... Okay. I must apologize to those involved for revealing unfortunate pieces of information that one may wish hidden, but it is necessary to prevent much greater horror from occurring. We are aware of certain delicate situations between those on different levels of the celestial order that must be brought to light in order to further explain what has happened. Oh, god damn it, my brain is just not coming up with the sequence of events that I want to present.
Would you like me to take over?
Sure. You're a more social character than my character is anyway.
The evidence is as follows, and we also have confessions of both parties for many of these. Initially, we had found that a blue light was seen in the field at the scene of the cow's murder, and the blue light happened to correlate with the information of the blue light that hangs on the side of one Isawa Ikamaru. When questioned about it, he mentioned that he was in a torrid affair with the owner of the cheese shop. He also happened to confess that he saw a most terrible horror take place in the village. We also received the same information from the owner of the cheese shop as well, independent of one another. They were not there at the same time as we questioned them. They claimed that they saw the peasant girl. Out of character, it was Kiki, right? The name of the girl that was most recently murdered?
Yes.
The peasant girl known as Kiki was murdered, and they claimed that it was by this man here. And then he'll point and motion over to the doctor.
Goes the room.
At first, I found it an interesting theory, but once we investigated the body of the cow that had been most recently slain, every single mark upon it was not the work of someone who was unskilled in the medical arts, of which there is only one person here. They were precise, meant to drain the beast with precision, and moreover, the line of events sequentially matches up as well. The murders of the livestock ended at the last of fall of last year, whereas the murder of the peasant girls has taken place over the course of the winter to simply a few days ago. It was also found out that there was a medicinal substance within our medicine man's area, which allowed him to knock people out and drag them to their residence of home. With that in mind, we will be searching the facility until we can find such a thing to corroborate with this. But as it stands, you have the testimony of myself, Isawa Sai, Isara Ikamaru, the cheese shop lady, and our Yoroki.
I nod.
I believe that you are guilty of this crime, and I urge you to confess to remove the stain of your sins from your soul.
And the
And here is the big dramatic moment.
here we go.
Out of character. Are you gonna
I
jade strike
charge
this
you
guy?
not only with these murders, but also
Can know.
I charge that you are a Mahotsukai, and with that I will cast Jade Strike.
All right.
This is either going to go very, very well or horribly, horribly badly.
Either you're a hero or
But I feel the need to do it for drama's sake. Where the hell are you? There. Oh, I'm glad I didn't call raises.
what does your personal jade strike look like?
I will say a greenish beam tinged black on the edges.
Ooh, very cool. Very fooling of you. So you dramatically, I charge you of being a Mahosukai, and you shoot a very cool looking laser beam just straight at his chest, and it goes right through him, and there's a full 5 minutes of silence. And he looks.
Oh wait, it goes through him?
Yep, it does no damage.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
And he
That's not good.
he says, I admit to killing the. I confess, yes. But I'm not a Mahosukai, so any deeds you, any punishment I get, please let it be for me murdering young women and not for dabbling in Maho. Please, God.
So
I just sort of stand there dumbfounded.
I just
At
committed
the sort of-
grave social faux pas.
At the kind of insult leveled at the this poor guy. Well, poor
Chijinko will
murderer.
look very annoyed.
Hey Ken, what's your honor?
4.5.
Alright, lose 4 points of honor for performing a foolish act. Oh wait, that's for being duped. One second. Let's see, a major
see
breach of
where.
etiquette's only -2, so -2 and not -4.
Let me see. Didn't have books open, unfortunately.
Well, it is in the
If you're the
sheet that
an
he
Asawa
gave.
Shugenja, your honor should be 4.5.
Yeah. Let's see here. Too foolish.
So the foolish act,
Was
yeah,
I
is
duped
minus.
into a foolish act?
No, you just performed a major breach of etiquette.
Oh,
Oh,
major
okay.
breach of act.
So it's -2.
Oh yeah, that's -2.
-2.
Thank you for fact checking me. So at this, Missy Sawa looks utterly shocked. She's like, "What the fuck? Why would you do this to me?" He's like, he shrugs. You know, after his apprentice graduated, got his Genpuku, he felt very lonely, and he was a dying old fool, and just wanted to feel like he had an impact on the world. Womp womp.
But why the blood?
If not Amatsukai, why the blood? What did you need blood for?
I wasn't collecting blood. I just, that's just how I preferred to kill them. Was letting them bleed out.
Well, I believe we have our confession. By the order of the magistrates, I am placing you under arrest.
And I will go without. He'll hand over his wakizashi.
All right. Okay, I guess I'll just do the proper thing and take him to a holding cell.
Yeah,
And then-
I'll assist, assuming that's like my station. And afterwards, I would like to approach Isawa Ikamaru, I believe, and the person that saved my grandfather, and I'll just I'll approach him and I'll say, I would like to thank you for saving Isawa Tasai. He is my grandfather. He is a great man, and I am in your debt. And I'll bow very deeply.
And he'll, he'll give a demure smile and he'll be like, hey, I'm glad I saved his life because you managed to save the life of the woman I love, probably. Who knows if he would have stopped.
I was simply doing my duty.
As was I. And so go ahead and give yourself Isawa Akamaru as one loyalty ally. Then let us, two samurai bound by duty, continue to do such and protect our lands as best we can. Protect our lands and the people we love as best we can. And may I never falter again, and may you never falter as I had.
We must all try to live up to the tenets of Bushido.
Indeed.
And then with that, I'll follow the rest of the magistrates out.
Very good. Are you leaving our healer murderer Nanamahu Sukai? Are you taking him back to Kyuting Isawa? Or are you rendering your judgment and leaving him for the local magistrate to take care of?
This was done. Well, the murder was done here. Technically, the crime was committed here, but this office was. The office that this went through was the one in Kyuden Isawa. So. Can I make an etiquette roll to see if I know the proper course of action here?
It wasn't a trick question. It's just whatever you guys would like to do.
It might be. I mean, it's higher. It would be higher risk to take him with us. However, it might please Asoko-sama to a greater degree if we brought him. Would it not?
Let's bring him back with us. We're 6. He's 1. He's surrendered.
He's old.
Cool.
Sorry if there's bird noise in the background. I live with birds and they have decided to be loud.
That's cool. I don't hear anything.
Oh, that's good. Because it's loud as hell here.
So with that, you take him out. You take him out of town and you make your journey back to Kudanisawa. What's the judgment that you render upon him when you arrive? His
What is
punishment.
Well, he's a murderer. That's execution.
Very well.
Although, wait, is he a samurai? If
Yes.
so, he should be allowed to commit seppuku.
Yeah, I was about to say, if he's samurai, he probably can seppuku him. Especially since it's peasants, thus less serious, generally considered.
Hmm.
Very well. If you are allowing him to commit seppuku, he will do it. Yes, you guys return to Kudanisawa and present the case to Asako Gen. I guess I should.
Yep, we make sure to basically report exactly what happened.
Yep.
No embellishment. The process of getting every pieces of the bits of information, so on and so forth, and then we concluded that he was the murderer based off of his confession, and we are allowing him to commit seppuku.
And he'll nod. Sounds like you guys were, you guys, says the samurai. Sounds like you were thorough, and I'm pleased with your results. Seppuku, fine deliberation. And so he will, yeah, he's pleased with you. And he says, well, now that I know that you can competently handle a murder investigation, you've got more cases to take care of. And he will point towards the scroll rack that keeps the case files, and you guys will see that there's 3 new cases ready and waiting for you.
Whoa. Cool.
And so I'd like you guys to read through those and decide which one during this session, so I know what to plan for next session. I could actually probably run all 3 of them tonight, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I don't think I think my girlfriend went to bed.
And so that's gonna be today's sessions, unless there's any closing words that anybody would like to go through.
All I want pretty the characters now.
Ken, that was almost inaudible.
I felt the need to do it, even though I was pretty sure it wasn't the case.
Well, I didn't make that conclusion, but when you said it, I was like, oh. I mean, I also hardly know anything about blood magic, but when you said it, I was like, oh yeah.
You can spill the blood of others to cast the spells. So
Also, just because he wasn't tainted enough for Jade Strike to affect him does not mean he wasn't tainted.
true. Especially since there is, I should mention this. There is actually a Maho spell that basically heals using taint, and then there's another one that lets you transfer taint to someone else. So, there is the possibility for a healer to be completely and utterly tainted.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So based on what I've seen so far, I'm personally thinking that case number 2 looks the juiciest to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
it
take a
definitely
look.
looks the juiciest, and in addition, because of the preference of my character for his own family, he'd probably lean towards that one to begin with.
However, case number 3 is appointed by the chief magistrate herself, and we would be able to do a mission for her rather than just the assistant to the chief magistrate.
Yeah.
Hmm. I have to close it before I could open up. Oh, I see.
Although that sounds like some crazy Thunder Spirit shit. I'm not sure if I'm prepared for that yet.
At the same time, it's got a lower chance of escalation than case 2 is. So it's possible that case 2 is actually more dangerous.
Well, there are a shit ton of tainted children allegedly, so yeah.
So just to explain those, as time passes, the situation will develop, so some evidence will get swept under the rug, and outside forces will take interest in the case as well, so when you take the case will affect how it plays out.
And chance of escalation, I'm assuming, correlates to the longer it's left unattended, the crazier things become, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Like, for instance, case 2, right now it's not that big of a threat, but there's a hype that the Crab Clan's gonna get concerned about their Cooney eventually. So that could go crazy.
Well, not only that, but Akuni is being denied the chance to check and see if something is tainted.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like something is tainted. And from what I just saw, Scythe here isn't above just blasting people with Jade Strike, so that might be a pretty easy case for us. We'll just blast them with Jade Strike.
And for case 2, whatever it is killing children, but it's probably not going to escalate past. It's going to stay at the consistent level of it keeps on killing children. So.
Yeah.
Personally, my vote is for case number 2.